When Abraham Blazer came to Vilna for the first time in 1934, he stopped a 19-year-old stranger on the street and asked her where he might be able to rent a room. He explained that he was from Katowice in Poland. He worked in plastics and nylon manufacturing and was in town to show his wares at the Eastern Trade Fair. The 19-year-old replied that her family happened to rent out a maid's room in their home. Blazer came around later to see the room and told the young woman that he'd take it. He also kissed her. Apparently he liked me. He gave me a kiss. Hannah Scher later described it. I didn't slap him. And then he left. He left, and I was left with the impression of this kiss. After Blazer moved into his new lodgings, the wooing continued, and soon the couple resolved to marry. At first, Scher's family firmly opposed the union. Then Hannah fell seriously ill with some kind of contagious throat infection and a dangerously high fever. The doctors debated her chances of survival, and her family kept their distance, but Blazer sat at her bedside, holding her pillow as she coughed and spat out mucus. When she began to recover and expressed an urgent need for orange juice, Blazer, even though it was 2 a.m, tracked down the home address of the only fruit store's owner, awoke him, explained that it was an emergency, and persuaded the man to open up his store to sell Blazer some oranges. After this, Hannah's family withdrew their objections. In May 1935, the couple married. The following September 1936, their first son, Zvi, was born. Blazer set up a workshop in Vilna, working in plastics and synthetic materials, and his wife Hannah worked in the Office of Applications and Translations. The first jolt, the pre-tremor, was the arrival of the Soviets in 1940. Their current jobs were no longer viable, so Hannah took on translating and typing work that she could do from home, and her husband found work in a newly nationalized optician's shop. It wasn't easy, but they were getting by, and later they'd wonder if their ability to weather this first difficult period had been a blessing or a curse. Perhaps it was their relative affluence that misdirected them. After the Soviets came, other people they knew fled the city and even the country. The Blazers realized in retrospect that if their situation had been more desperate, they might well have left too. But in truth, they were still doing fine, so they stayed put. Often those who suffer the most in times of great trouble are those who have the least to begin with. But sometimes it is those who have more to give up who cling on too long and find themselves stranded. On the Sunday morning in June 1941, when German planes first appeared in the sky, Zvi, who was now nearly 5, had just readied himself in his best clothes, his suitcase packed. He was heading off to a Jewish summer camp just outside the city in the suburb of Tangled. Then they heard the noise. It took a moment to realize what it was. Bombs. They couldn't understand it. No one had been expecting the war to appear on their doorstep. Naturally, they decided to stay home. Everyone in the building spent the night in the basement air shelter. Everyone, that is, aside from Blazer. He slept in his mother-in-law's room, where 3 air raid warnings failed to rouse him, but he came to no harm. Not everyone shared his luck. One of the casualties from that first day of bombing was a co-worker from the opticians who had left at 6 o'clock that morning to take a boat trip on the Vilja River. German pilots were flying low over the river, Blazer said, and shot everybody taking part in that trip. There were about 20 boys and girls, and none of them came back. The first victims of the German invasion of Vilna.